Okay, as we start Chapter 7, Sport Elimination, I want to make sure that you understand what the term elimination is referring to here. We're not talking about tournament elimination, postseason elimination, that sort of thing. What we're talking about is when you decide to give up a sport. That's what we're dealing with here. When do you decide that you've had enough of baseball or enough of football or enough of soccer or enough of tennis? When do you decide that you're ready to stop playing it? I realize this loses a little bit of its luster not being in the classroom, but this absolutely boggles my mind that there are millions of people in America who don't own a team specific piece of clothing. It's hard for me to imagine. I know one thing, I'd have a lot less clothes in my house if I had things that did not pertain to a specific team. It amazes me that this is the case, but clearly most people, or many people, I should say, not most, but many people don't view life the way many of us do. I want you to read this first bullet point and give this some thought. People stop playing because they lose fun. I get that. A lack of success or pressure to win. We don't enjoy competing. Now, I tend to keep my opinions to myself until you guys are allowed to express yours. But in this particular case, I want to say this. While I think that schools on every level have a right to do what they have to do, because look, most schools can't afford 100 football jerseys and 100 sets of shoulder pads and 100 helmets and 100 sets of thigh pads and cleats and everything that goes into it. On the youth level, it is my opinion that no child should ever be cut. If you have to add a team to your league, whatever you have to do, make sure that every child who wants to participate has a way to. To me, that's a non-starter right there. You simply cannot cut kids at the youth level. Here's an interesting stat for you that I want to make sure that we're on the same page with. Less than 1% of people who play high school sports plays that sport professionally. Think about that. 1%, less than 1%, one out of 100 will play that sport professionally. Now, we're not talking about playing it in the NBA or Major League Baseball. We're talking about playing it in the minor leagues, playing overseas as a professional, playing in lower rungs of professional sport. In some countries, there are 6 levels of professional basketball. We're not talking about playing any of that. It says less than 1% actually play professional sport. Now, this is a discussion that we typically have in the face-to-face traditional classroom. By age 12, more than half of the youth have already opted out of playing sport. And I always ask the students, why do you think age 12? And because I don't have you guys in the same setting, I'll go ahead and give you my opinion. That's when Little League stops. That's when you move on from a little league to a bigger league, be it typically in basketball or specifically in baseball, although I think maybe Little League Baseball may have extended to 13 now. I'm not 100% sure about that. But at any rate, at 12 years old, more than half have already stopped playing. And that's really sad for me, but it's been the case for a long time. I'm a lot older than you guys, but when I played Little League Baseball in the little league that I played in, and when I say that, I mean the small league that I played in, there were 6 teams. When we started up our Babe Ruth League, and I was 14 that year, so I remember it vividly, we had 4 teams. So we'd already gone from 6 to 4 just when you pass that 12-year-old age limit. Here are a couple of very small stories on pages 118 and 119 for you to check out and read the tragic ending of these. Here are a couple of very important terms for you to be familiar with. Finally, I want to stop and talk about social burnout. When playing a sport or practicing your sport becomes more important than engaging with your friends and being away from the field of play. When you would rather be in a gym on Saturday night, or when you're forced to be in a gym by a parent or by a coach or something on a Saturday night when all your buddies are out, those sort of things can start weighing on students and on athletes. So we'll take a look at the social burnout factor in every level of sport here.